Good evening and welcome to the Calgary Wranglers and Tucson Roadrunners. We ask you to come to see the horses in the rainbow, throw your hats, and enjoy the performance of the nice American and Canadian Shenanigans.
Oh, say can you see my lost early light was so proudly held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we marched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard
It is a battle of two teams trying to get back into the win column. Welcome to the Scotiabank Saddle Dome for American Hockey League action between the Calgary Wranglers and Tucson Roadrunners. Thank you for joining us on FloHockey and Sportsnet 960 The Fan. Sandra Brusina, Matt Rose with you for the call from the Peter Marr radio broadcast booth high above the ice. The Roadrunners have had the Wranglers number all season. Calgary mustering just one regulation win against a Pacific Division rival. They are chasing for a playoff spot, but the good news for the Wranglers, Matty, reinforcements are here.
Yeah, they got a couple of players sent down with the NHL heading its Olympic break. Matvey Gridden down here for the first time in a long time. His last game in the AHL was 7 games ago. You get Hunter Brustevich. It's been since December that he played in the AHL. Justin Kirkland's playing his second game with the Wranglers. Gavin White is another addition. A little bit of a facelift for this team as they head into the home stretch.
As we wait for opening face-off here, I'm not sure if you noticed, but an extra coach behind the bench tonight. That is one Alex Gallant joining the coaching crew as he gives the bench a little bit of leadership, out with an injury right now. Early face-off win for the visitors. Pulled back into their zone. Brustevich holds the line. He gets bumped hard as Cairns battles taken down. Extra attacker coming out for Calgary, and an early power play coming for the home team.
That's a good way to get the game started. Try and get to the middle of the ice, draw a tripping penalty. Max Zuber, the German defenseman, going to head to the box here. Try and take advantage of this penalty kill, ranked 30th in the entire AHL at 75.9%. Wranglers' power play isn't really anything to write home about, 14.7%, but this is where you look for the additions of Gridden and Brustevich to count.
Yeah, you don't have to lean on that 5-forward power play, certainly, as Brustevich is working the point. That's batted all the way down the ice to Sergeyev. And we'll talk about the starting goalies when we have a quick moment, but Calgary getting set up. Brustevich for Cairns. Through center, he'll go to the far wing. Bump back to Sam Morton. Hottest Wrangler these days. Morton from the corner slides it to the other wall. Hunt. Brustevich, that'll go rink wide for Gridden. Holds it, swings it back to Brustevich. Hunt needs to reset. He'll get bumped to the point, and that is cleared.
Got the entry okay. Had things set up at the point, but just little mix up there trying to move it over to the right flank and cause the turnover.
Cairns through the neutral zone, drops it off for Sam Morton, gains the line. He'll pump it down low past Villalta. Hunt tries to trap it on the half wall, supported by Morton. Back to Brustevich. Goes to the circle and back to Brustevich at the line. Top of the slot, bumped over to Gridden. He'll go into the corner for Cairns. Around once again. Hunt for Morton. He'll hold it at the far wall. Works it high to low. Dryden Hunt bumps it back to the line. Brustevich through traffic. That hits bodies out in front, and Gridden holds, at least momentarily, and it's sent down the ice.
Yeah, finally got the shooting lane that they wanted, but ended up with a Roadrunner jumping in front of that shot try from Brustevich and getting the block. Now just down to 25 seconds.
Second unit on. Stromgren. Button hooks in the corner as Kirkland is taken down. Line is held by Miromanov. He'll send it down low with his backhand. Suniev trying to force the turnover, but it's pumped down the ice once again.
That'll pretty much do it for this Wranglers power play. One last rush for this group.
Miromanov winds through the neutral zone over to Martin Firk. That's taken offside, and you are right. We are back to 5-on-5, 17:40 to go in the first. And let's take a look at our starting goalies in this one, as Arseny Sergeyev making back-to-back starts. He's 1-3-5 on the season, 304 goals against average, 903 save percentage, 0-1-1 versus Tucson this year. On the other side of the ice, it's Matt Villalta, 13-6-3, 294 goals against average, 900 save percentage, and 3-0 versus Calgary this year. Kirkland takes it off the wall, puts it behind the net. Clark Bishop digs for it. Bishop playing the role of a winger with Kirkland in the lineup. So Calgary finally with some depth down the middle. Suniev to the line. White over to Ottenbright, filters it through traffic and quickly clobbered by Villalta.
Yeah, Montagna Onilbucci getting into it with the captain, Clark Bishop, early. He's a tough customer for this Tucson Roadrunners team. Out there as well, you got the veteran Kevin Connaughton playing a little bit of wing for the Roadrunners here today. Out there on that shift playing the right wing.
Still 0-0, 17-13 to go in the opener of this first game of this back-to-back. Sam Morton digs in for the draw. Near side circle out there with Dryden Hunt and Mappe Gridden. Turner Ottenbright, holds off the draw. Hunt snaps it in on goal. And White pinches, looking for Morton. Stick was lifted at the last moment. And out by Hebig, but quickly over to Ottenbright. White for Gridden. Bounces over to Morton, drops it off to the wall. Hunt. White calling for it, redirected wide, and it's cleaned up by Simashev. One of two All-Stars in this game. Of course, the other being Matvei Gridden. Had a little chat during the warm-up, the two Russians. Dryden Hunt through center. Lifts it into the zone. David Celia. Gridden giving him an option. So is Lucas Siona. Blue liners Grishnikov and Miromanov. Three Roadrunners in the corner, and it's Siona who eventually frees the puck. Miromanov tries to pinch, get it in deep. Visitors need to reset. Matika. McGregor into the Calgary end. Puts it back to the line. Lamoureux redirected wide. Loose puck picked up by Matika, but Celia air mills that to center. Siona tried to blow the zone. And Matika with a chip and chase before heading to the bench. Cicek to the far flank for Celia. Goes rink wide. William Stromgren on the near wing. He'll get bumped. Loose puck picked up by Walker. And that is stretched out, almost tape to tape for Kevin Rooney, who had slipped in behind the D. Bumped into the corner. Centering pass, Rooney right in on Sergeyev, who makes his first save of the night.
Yeah, that shot from the top of the circle. Rooney getting into a couple of spots to shoot. Tested the crest there for Sergeyev on the slot from the shot from that part of the circle there. Stromgren and Ferk hanging around, making sure he didn't have a whole lot of time to settle that one down and pick a corner. The former Flame out here with the Tucson organization this year.
Calgary wins the defensive zone draw. Hunter Brustevich kicks it to his stick. Connaughton holds it at the Calgary line. Drop pass, Allard. Allard crashes the net, and it's a kick save. Sergeyev. Brustevich from the corner. Perunovic dances. That should have been offside, but play continues. Perunovic goes for a skate, comes to the near side point. Little 360 action there. Gets the return pass, still skating. As that cycle continues, but Brustevich on cleanup and a bump pass. Oh, there's Matvei Gridin as he snaps it on goal, and maybe that should have been offside. I don't know what the linesmen are seeing here, but clearly we're seeing something else.
Yeah, I thought both those were offside. Martin Ferk ends up taking the big slap shot from the dot on that opportunity. Got it real tight and ripped that high and wide, which the defender was not happy with. Maybe the slap shot from the hash mark from someone who's won the AHL hardest shot competition, a record holder in fact, but he's got well within his right there.
Absolutely. Offensive zone draw for Calgary. Still 0-0. Tucson will start with it. 14:29 to go. Hebig, bumped by Bishop, plays it to himself, gains the line, still with it, shoots, and gathered by Villalta.
Yeah, the captain just trying to put that one towards the net, getting a little bit of a rush try. Might have had the lane behind the net and could have maybe waited for a little bit of help, but just kind of bobbled it on his handle here as he tries to go back behind the net. And that allowed Villalta to jump on that one and not really face too much damage. This is an interesting line because you got two veterans that can certainly check, and Kirkland and Bishop and can take face-offs, both of them left-handed. And then they're out there with Suniev, who's certainly learning the pro game right now, but has some offensive skills.
Kirkland. That is sticked away by Villalta. White and Suniev play catch. White elects to put it on goal, and just off the glove of Villalta, Calgary holds the line. Suniev pokes it to himself, and yeah, that is offside.
That one, Kirkland almost got back onside. Suniev feels like he's been kind of at the middle of both these. There was the offside call where he didn't feel that he had gone offside earlier on in the period. And then we have the one that saw Perunovic hold it in. So Suniev's kind of been in the middle of a couple of these calls and maybe getting a little bit frustrated here in the first 5-6 minutes of period number one.
2 shots apiece for these teams. Neutral zone draw, Sam Morton to take. Tucson wins it. Lamoureux to his D-man Zuber. Along the wall and out. At center, Miromanov floats it over to Grishnikov. Bank pass. Gridin. And rink wide. Dryden Hunt flips it to the middle. Gridin shoots and sends that over the net glove side on Villalta. From the corner, Hunt tied up along the glass. And that is cleared. No ice, so Grishnikov bats it over to Miromanov. Cross ice pass, Gridin, fans on it. Picked up by Morton, back to Gridin. Comes down the near flank. Can't connect with Morton. Maybe numbers the other way as it's poked deep into the Calgary zone. Sergeyev there first. Tucson getting set up. McCartney walks the wall. Walker shoots. Deflected wide by Rooney. Tries to collect the loose puck. Tied up by Cicek. Morton fishes it free, but gives it away to McCartney from behind the net to the top of the circle. On Yabuchi to his D partner. Perunovic plays it down low for Rooney behind the net. Tight shot from McCartney. Takes a chance at a tight angle, and it's handled by Sergeyev. Walker bumped by Grushnikov as far as the half wall. McCartney takes it back, protects it backhand, tries to jam it in near side, and Sergeyev's got it.
Yeah, needed that one too. The jam play by McCartney. The top line for the Wranglers had been trapped out there for a while. They had a nice little push in the offensive zone, but a turnover led to a rush try the other way and forced them to defend rather than get the change. That shift was well over a minute for that top pair, along with Cicek and Grushnikov out there on the back end. Still, we saw some nice plays from Gridden. That play he makes in the neutral zone, the pass across the entire neutral zone. Don't know how he saw that Dryden Hunt was waiting for the pass on the opposite blue line, but he zipped that one across tape to tape and then immediately joined the rush. Hunt threw a little lob pass into the middle of the ice, and Gridden was able to jump on that, but unfortunately just fine-tuned the shot a little too much and zipped it over the top of the net. So I feel like Brustevich and Gridden have both had a couple of plays where they're kind of bobbling it a little bit. They're obviously getting way more puck touches than they would up in the NHL, and that's certainly something to get used to. You think about Brustevich, who, you know, up in the NHL, he's playing quite a bit. He's been playing a lot of games, but his average ice time is less than 14 minutes a night.
Right.
And there's been a few nights that really sink that for him. There's been a couple nights where he's getting up, 18, 19 minutes a night, but it's a little bit of a different role for him here, and it might take a little bit of getting used to here in the first period. I just feel like I've seen that a little bit between Gridden and Brustevich, where down here they're the guys, and up top they're, you know, a key part of the team, obviously, but not asked to produce or be nearly as much of a factor as they're able to be down here.
Yeah, really good opportunity for them to just build their game, gain more confidence. Matt Vey heading to the All-Star game next week, so that's got to do wonders for a 19-year-old. And then eventually they'll glide back up to the NHL with all that playing time that they boasted during this Olympic stretch. 12:30 to go. First period, still 0-0. Defensive zone draw coming for Calgary. Cairns versus Austin Pagansky, the captain of the Tucson Roadrunners. Calgary 1-3-2 this season versus Tucson. Outscored 25-14. 3 one-goal games over that stretch, and Tucson 2-0 at the Saddle Dome this year. They've liked coming in there. As Pagansky complaining, Calgary impeding on this draw. He's looking to the official for a call, but not going to get it as Stromgren tried to take it. It's won by Tucson. Straight to Russo. Snap down low. Cam Hebig. Bump by Stromgren. Back to Hebig. Sealed off by Brustevich. Hebig into the corner. That'll go rink wide. Russo waits, shoots, and that's a glove save from Sergeyev.
Yeah, got a Stromgren headed out to the point to, I wouldn't say give a real hard try at blocking the shot, but made sure that if he was going to get in the way, he was going to get all of it, and if not, Sergeyev was going to be able to see that puck, and sure enough, he's able to. It all starts with the lost face-off, and Tucson just kind of controlling in the offensive zone after that.
Pagansky now gets waved out himself. He'll switch with Hebig. Pagansky coming on the outside hash now. Everybody complaining about the face-offs here.
Yeah, at a certain point, you just kind of got to drop the puck, don't you?
Yes, please. There's hockey to be played. Come on.
Both of the officials coming in to have a chat with the linesmen. A little bit, you know, we talked about how the offsides had been a little bit questionable already.
So,
yeah, and of course there was a player kicked out here, and then because of the, finally we'll drop the puck here.
Scramble on the draw. Calgary pulls it away. Brustevich for Cicek. Skates it through center, gains the line, drops it off for Cairns. Cicek has pinched on this play. Spot is being marked by Ferk. And a good stick check there for Stromgren. Baganski gains the Calgary line, top of the slot, shoots. That goes off of a body into the corner. Shot from the point. That whistles just wide blocker side. And it's pushed into the neutral zone. Cut off by Cairns. Glove down. Ferk. Flips it over to Cairns. Walks it to the circle. As Ferk was trying to split the D and look for a redirection. White holds the line. 2 Wranglers in the slot, and fanning on that is Cairns. And holding it is Stromgren. Stromgren from the circle. Cairns for the tip play, handled by Villalta. Out to Ottenbright. Chasing is Ricketts. Getting there first is White. Can't hold it, and Ricketts, with a bump back to his blue liner.
That was the hardest stop that Villalta's had to make so far. A deflection from Rory Cairns right on top of the crease. 2 real good plays by William Stromgren on that shift. The first time he does a good job to get back to the point, realizing that Cicek is deep and they need more support back. He gets on his horse. He forces a turnover at the opposing blue line. Unfortunately, threw it down the wall and just didn't necessarily have the support. Turned it over, and Tucson came the other way. But he had another opportunity to keep it in the zone later on, and that's what led to the Cairns deflection try on Villalta and the 3rd shot on net for the Wranglers here this evening.
King off the wall, shoots, and that's a glove save, Villalta.
Yeah, Carter King's someone that I'm really interested to watch him kind of continue here in the AHL. The last time that we did a broadcast, he was playing up in the lineup a little bit more, but he's shown some versatility, been a good 4th liner, good soldier, if you will, for this Wranglers team, but at times they've needed him to be a second power play guy, be a middle 6 player that can add a little bit of scoring. And the numbers aren't crazy for him this year, just in his first full year of pro hockey. The Calgary, a little bit undersized, but 43 points in 44 games his last year as a senior at a pretty good university at Denver. So, you know, he's got a little bit of offense.
Calgary wins the offensive zone draw, trying to get a shot from a tight angle. Hunt. Ottenbright thought of pinching, needs to reverse, bumps it back to Gridden. They'll play catch. Hunt. Gridden to the line for White. Back to Gridden. His shot is blocked. All the way back to Sergeyev. He'll flip it to the half wall. Ottenbright hits a player. Goes to the other side of the ice. Right in on Sergeyev. Probably wasn't expecting that, but makes a nice kick save nonetheless. White with a breath in his own end, making his home debut. 2nd game as a member of the Calgary Wranglers. Picked up in the trade for Jeremy Poirier. King swings that in deep. Dribbles back into the neutral zone, and Grishnikov ahead for King. Puts it down low. Villalta. Tape to tape for Onyebuchi. Grishnikov tries to tap it ahead for Carter King. And here comes Kevin Rooney. He's got an option in the middle. And a penalty coming with 9:34 left in the first period of this 0-0 hockey game.
Yeah, a little high stick here. I think this is going to be King, who was trying to get on the back check there, and unfortunately on the stick lift attempt just caught the Roadrunner going on the rush. They're calling it for 2. They're trying to show a little bit of blood here and trying to turn this into a 4-minute, but they are just going to leave this one as a 2. Not enough blood, says the official, as Sammy Walker pleads his case.
All right, Calgary's penalty kill these days, 27th in the AHL. 3rd most penalized team, actually, league-wide. Tucson's power play, 13th with 4 power play goals in the last 5 games.
Yeah, 163 times shorthanded so far this year. The Condors, 181. You have the Ice Hogs, 168. Laval, 179. The Wranglers right up there at 163. Lehigh Valley, 165. That's times shorthanded. The Wranglers certainly up there in penalty minutes, especially with some of the work that Alex Gallant has done this year.
Calgary wins the draw all the way back to Villalta, who's looking like a central fielder right there.
Very relaxed. Just a few weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Oh, same there.
Sergiev does the same thing as they'll just play catch to each other. 200 feet. Let's just throw it in on goal. Here's Russo. Bumps it back. Simashev tries to set up shop, doesn't get past Kirkland. Into the corner for McCartney. Pagansky working his way into the middle. Here's Perunovic. Goes across to Simashev, back to Perunovic, walks the line. Surveys for a lane, finds it, and that's deflected out of play by Justin Kirkland.
Yeah, you got that KG veteran duo killing the penalty for you. First one's over the board. Clark Bishop and Justin Kirkland. No real surprise that head coach Brett Sutter decided to go that route. Seeing Simashev on the point there, running the power play, the 6th overall pick in 2023, playing in his first year of North American hockey. Already been in 24 NHL games this year. Just 1 assist, was -9, but another prospect coming for Utah.
Cleaned up in the Calgary zone. Sam Morton coming in shorthanded. Hunt available, stretches, Hunt, and tries to go inside out, maybe through the wickets, and did not miss by much. Cam Hebig into the Calgary end, Grushnikov, and Morton clear.
A lot of guys fanning on passes here this evening for whatever reason. That one, 3 guys, 2 Wranglers, 1 Roadrunner, all whiffed on it, and it just trickled out of the zone.
Warm ice in Calgary, evidently 15 degrees here today, as that's back to the line. Hebig from the circle, waits, shoots. That is fought off by Sergiev, and Russo can't hold it.
Self-clear always helps. Matvey Gridin getting the 3rd PK work here for the Wranglers.
Down the far flank, centering, looking for Hebig. Ottenbright there. As we are back to 5-on-5. Celia pokes it ahead to himself, forced wide by Onyebuchi. Celia in the corner, trying to tie it up, surrounded by 4 Roadrunners. Connaughton, watched by Ottenbright, and it's worked into the Calgary zone. Ricketts from the corner, walks it in. Oh, great shoulder save from Sergiev. No daylight on that near side post. Connaughton, he'll get bumped. Still to the circle as they try to spread it out. Ricketts, no look backhand pass. Behind the Calgary net, White guides it along the dasher. Perunovic holds. Flips it over, shot from distance, lands between the circles, cleared by Calgary, and White skates it out over to Stromgren. Guides it down low from the corner. Furk had a look, no real outlet to pass to. Still 0-0, 6:29 to go, first period. Who shall light the lamp first? We will see. Brustevich tied up by Matika deep in his own end. Kirkland joining the back check to the wall. Simashev carving some ice, puts it down low. Brustevich there. And Kirkland kicks it into the neutral zone. Sergiev leaves that for Brustevich. Over to Cicek. Bishop. Suniev waits, shoots. Oh, that's a great save by Villalta as he traps that rebound, but Suniev had a little bit of time to pick his spot, and just a great read by Villalta.
Well, he did a good job of making sure that there was space for Bishop to get that pass across, because Bishop had trouble handling it along the wall, and that allowed the defender for Tucson to kind of find his positioning. And in that situation, you definitely want to take the pass with how far back Bishop was, not moving quickly, understanding that you probably have back pressure coming on the puck carrier on the wall there. So to see the lane open up and Bishop able to get that to Suniev just shows that Eider's pretty good at finding the quiet space in the ice there. And he gets a nice quick shot. Like you mentioned, that is a good save for Villalta. He pushes from his right to his left, and then the shot is back on the right side, so kind of against the grain comes the shot. He's able to stop it with his blocker and immediately cover it up and get a stoppage too. So the Wranglers get an opportunity there. Now up to 7 shots, and they've had a couple of good tries, but Villalta has been able to stop them all.
February 7th is our Next Gen Flames celebration. We'll be celebrating our connection to the Calgary Flames, and the featured promotion is we are giving away 1,000 Dustin Wolf Flames and Wranglers players pins. They're very cool collectibles. You can see them on the social media, and it's like a 3D hockey card where it's a player collectible pin. Dustin Wolf is series number 1, Matt Coronado series number 2, which will be handed out in late March. And the first 3,000 fans at the game will receive a 1 in 3 chance of winning. We'll also have some other Flames celebrations tomorrow, including a puck drop from a prominent Flames alumni with a Wranglers connection. I will just dangle that out there, and he may hop into the broadcast booth tomorrow. So there's the carrot. We may have a visitor.
Okay,
I'll just leave it at that. He may bump you for a couple of minutes, Matty.
Wear my best dress. Yeah, probably appropriate. Yeah. Looking forward to it. If I'm not mistaken, it's Dustin Wolf doing the jump that he does in the warm-up, which is, of course, very unique.
Pretty iconic now.
Yeah.
That the NHL has noticed. We had seen it in the AHL for a while, but now it is a staple. Okay, under 6 to go. First period, still 0-0. Calgary 7 shots, 6 for the visitors. And Lamoureux will start with it. Bishop tries to cut it off. He'll bump it down low, but straight into the netting.
Yeah, getting that face-off win though is important, and you got a couple of guys out here that you trust, especially when you're going to get a face-off opportunity on the left side of the ice, allowing both of them to go with the strong side. Offensive zone draw. The Wranglers are immediately going to go to the top offensive unit here. They've given the third line a couple of short shifts here where they've basically gone out, gotten the O-zone, gotten possession in the O-zone, and then as soon as it's face-off time, hand it over to the line with Gridden, Hunt, and Morton.
That goes all the way back to Sergeyev for Grishnikov and Gridden. Russian to Russian to Russian on that one. Stretch pass looking for Sam Morton. Bounces. He needs to tag up. Lamoureux to his D partner, Zuber. Drops it into the Calgary end. Ottenbright over to Gridden. Snaps it to Grishnikov. Tries to slide it ahead and cut off. Walker. Good defensive play with Gridden. Oh, and gosh, that is tough for Walker. He goes head first into the boards at the Calgary bench, and it's actually Ivan Prosvetov right away calling for the athletic trainer. Some scary moments here for Walker.
Yeah, just a real awkward collision where both players kind of fell and lost their footing and went into the boards kind of on their knees. Walker was kind of underneath Gridden as well as they collided and didn't have a lot of opportunity to protect himself. He's gotten up and onto all fours here at least, and is gonna, looks like he's gonna try to get up here and make his way to the bench. A little bit wobbly for sure, and looks like it might have banged up some on the lower body too. It's always tough when, you know, those boards, they got no give and you can't protect yourself, and all of a sudden everything's kind of folded up on itself, and Walker's gonna gingerly head down the tunnel. So that'll be a loss to the right side there, and had been playing on a key line with Rooney and McCartney here for the Wranglers too. Yeah, there's no intent there, right? Both guys just fighting for a puck, and both kind of lose their balance at the same time. Gridden's able to get one hand up, but not so much for Walker.
Sending him good thoughts as Gridden snaps that glove side high. 4:49 to go. First period still 0-0. And an arm up going behind the play. That's going to be a holding call from the back official here.
That's a
and
tough
Calgary
one for
back
the
to the power play.
because it looked like they were going to get an opportunity for Dryden Hunt right in the middle of the ice there, but the holding call on Simishev, like you mentioned, and you'll see it a lot in this game today. There is plenty of Russian talent on both sides
Yes.
of the ice, and there it's Simishev wrapping up Matt Gridden, which will lead to another Wranglers power play. 4:41 left to go. Didn't love the first power play, got set up, but didn't get a whole lot towards the ice. As we get another look at the free hand there on Dryden Hunt, setting an interesting precedent here. But
Yeah.
I'd like to see the Wranglers try and get a few more pucks towards the net early on in the power play here.
So Brett Sutter actually sending out his second unit as Miromanov holds the line for Suniev. Flip back to Miromanov, one-timer Ferk, his stick breaks. Has to head back to the bench for a new twig. That's scooped up by Suniev. Flips it back to the line, Miromanov. Ferk joining the fray. Suniev back to Miromanov, he unleashes. That's blocked. Reload for Miromanov. Suniev, Miromanov shoots, that bounces wide. Suniev along the far wall from the corner. Over to Kirkland. For Ferk, loads up, shoots. Stick save into the corner. Back to Suniev. Miromanov looks for a lane. Top of the slot, elects to pass. For Suniev. He'll hold. Now shoots and scores! On the power play. It's 1-0 Calgary.
And it's double-digit goals for Suniev on the season, up to 10, 5 of them coming on the power play. He did a good job on this power play on doing a couple of things. First, avoided pressure from Zuber in the corner, allowed the Wranglers to maintain possession. You get those one-on-ones in the corner and you got to make a decision. Are you going to win your battle or are you going to lose your battle? And he won it. He was playing the flank. He switches with Miromanov. He waits for the screen to come from the gigantic defender, Maverick Lamoureux, and takes his shot, picks his corner, gets that one past the defender, past the netminder, and the Wranglers lead with just under 4 minutes to go.
And Justin Kirkland with that net front presence as well, getting into the eyes of Villalta. 3:47 to go here in the first period. Tucson dropping it off. Onyebuchi tries to center, picked up by Perunovic as he activates off the line. Throws it into the circle, and that is gobbled up by Sergeyev.
Yeah, you got to be careful if you're the wingers out here today and you're trying to deal with Scott Perunovic, the former second-round pick of the Blues, a guy who's played plenty of NHL games, kind of back in the AHL for the first time in a couple of years. Not the biggest guy, he's 5'10", but real shifty and right up there for defenseman scoring this year. The 27-year-old is tied for 4th in defenseman scoring. He's only got 2 goals, but 28 points in 41 games, the 2020 Hobey Baker winner.
Tucson off the draw, firing it in on Sergeyev, who envelops the puck with no rebound from the aforementioned Perunovic.
Quick shot, hard. That height that's kind of right around the knees of your forwards, looking to get the deflection. Like, that's the exact type of play that you see from him in the offensive zone that has him way up there in defenseman scoring for the entire AHL.
So a goal from Idar Suniev on the power play, his 10th of the year at 16:05, has the first goal of the evening in this contest, and it's his 5th power play goal of the season for the rookie. Calgary will start with it. Stromgren through center, ahead to Martin Ferk, splits the D, chases the puck down low, bounces over to Cairns, to the line, White shoots, that is blocked by Rooney. Stromgren pickpocketed in the corner, brought back by Perunovic, who will just hold it behind his net. Looks for the stretch pass for Rooney. Quickly cut off by Calgary. Under 3 to go, first period. 1-0 the lead for Calgary. Ottenbright ahead to Ferk along the near wall. He'll get stood up by Onyebuchi. And now to Matika. Recovers after taking the hit, spots the trailer. Perunovic waits, shoots, and fires it over the Calgary net. Had a lot of time in the slot for number 7. He's got it right now, tries to bump it to the line. McCartney pushed into the neutral zone. Pagansky with a chip and chase, gets by one man, cleaned up by Grushnikov. Over to Stromgren. Lifts it into the neutral zone. Gridden waiting for it. Pops in front of the Calgary bench. Grushnikov for Hunt. Snaps it down the wall. Russo dealing with Morton. Russo to some open ice. Miromanov pinches, pushes it over to Morton. Walks it into the corner. Looks for an option, wants to get that cycle going. 2 Roadrunners draped all over him. Russo on his backhand to the half wall for Rooney. Flip to the Calgary line. Gridden scoops it up over to Dryden Hunt. Centers for Morton. This is Calgary's top line. Doing some heavy lifting right now. Kept to the perimeter, trying to spread it out, and Gridden does exactly that. Over to Grushnikov, tries to go back to Gridden, and it could be a breakaway. Kevin Rooney all by himself, waits, shoots, and fires it wide on the blocker side of Sergeyev. Grushnikov gives it up. Lamoureux shoots, blocker saves Sergeyev, who has been tested a couple of times late in this first period. He's looked great. Lamoureux to Allard. He'll go rink wide. Zuber bats it down low. Now behind the net. Calgary headed back to the box. Another high sticking call. And with 44 seconds left, we get that whistle.
Cicek is going to get the high sticking call. That is a shift to forget for Artem Grushnikov. He has the shot try that goes right into the shin pads and leads to the breakaway by Kevin Rooney. I do think that Sergeyev got a blocker on that as well on the shot try from Rooney. And then a little bit later on, Grushnikov under pressure in the corner, and he just kind of chips it right into the middle of the ice. And that led to another great shooting opportunity. Sergeyev had to stop that one too. So a tough shift there for Grushnikov. His partner ends up taking a minor penalty along the way for high sticking.
Tucson 0 for 1 on the man advantage tonight. Kirkland, Pagansky in the circle, couple of AHL vets. Tucson wins it. Back to the line. Perunovic, little head fake. To the far wall for Hebig. Pagansky back to the line. Simashev. Backhands it to McCartney. Bishop tried to get it away from Pagansky. Tucson holds. Perunovic through traffic. That's deflected wide. Ottenbright from the corner. Cleared by Kirkland with 10 seconds to go.
Good job by Kirkland to find that loose puck and make sure you get the clear there.
Perunovic forced wide, and that'll do it. 20 minutes done, and a nice start for Calgary as they pot one on the power play. Idar Suniev's 10th of the season from Daniil Miromanov and Martin Furk, and that's all the scoring. But I would like to draw our attention to Arseny Sergeyev, who's 12 for 12 in terms of saves, and I thought he's looked great. A couple of key ones in this last 2 or 3 minutes.
He's robbed Kevin Rooney a couple times here today. He's made a couple of real key stops. He's been strong on the PK as well. So that's what you want to see. This is an interesting duo, right? You got Sergeyev, who's the younger netminder of the two, 23 years old, a 7th round pick, and then you got Prosvetov, who's 26, who's been overseas and played in the KHL a little bit too, and now he's over here in the backup for this evening's contest.
Well, lots for Calgary to like after 20 minutes. They'll look to continue that momentum in the second, but they'll have to do it with a kill. Another 1:16 to go on the PK. You're listening to the Wranglers on Sportsnet 960 The Fan and tuning in on FloHockey. Welcome back to the Scotiabank Saddle Dome on your Friday night. Thank you for joining us for American Hockey League action on Sportsnet 960 The Fan. Also want to apologize for any sort of technical issues you may be experiencing this evening on FloHockey. Calgary coming into this second period up by 1. Idar Suniev's 10th of the year at 16:05 of the first. It came on the power play, but Calgary will have to dig in here on the kill. 1:16 to go in the Nick Cicek high-sticking minor.
Both teams took 2 minors in the first period. The Wranglers now 1 for 2 on the power play, trying to move to 2 for 2 on the kill here to get the second frame started.
Calgary will start with the puck. White eats some of that clock and then fires it down the ice.
First viewing of Gavin White for me, being at home here, his first home game, and I've liked how he's played defensively. Gets in front of pucks there. He jumped on a loose one, cycled back, bought some time, and got a good clear.
McCartney tries to poke it by him, puts it straight on Sergeyev, makes the save, catch and release, and fire down the ice. Villalta will leave that for Simashev. Winds in his own end. Through the neutral zone, going for a skate, coast to coast. Simashev still with it, waits, pulls out Sergeyev. Maybe wanted the wraparound, but nowhere to go. McCartney back to Perunovic. Perunovic from the circle, still with it, head fake, puts it in tight. Perunovic picks it up again. Drops it off at the far point. Simashev holds, back to Perunovic. Simashev once again. They play catch. Perunovic fakes the shot. Simashev back to Perunovic. Late days on this power play. Simashev shoots Sergeyev with the save. Oh, that's a great one. Oh, as he goes butterfly style and beautiful to keep this a 1-0 lead for Calgary.
Yeah, he stopped Ben McCartney in tight earlier, and then Austin Pagansky is who he gets the stop on there on the rebound try. It's an interesting power play for Tucson. They run 2 defensemen with Simashev and with Perunovic at the point. Both of them being left-handed, too. Typically, when you got both defensemen out there, one of them's got the big right-handed one-timer from this left side flank, but Simashev was dancing out there, Perunovic was dancing out there, and eventually they got that one through. And the captain banging away, looking for the rebound in Pagansky, but a great stop and a good job to get the clear.
Yeah, right where the blocker and the stick meet. Great save there from the rookie netminder. Lamoureux snaps it in on Sergeyev. He'll kick that into the corner. He's having himself a night. 16 saves so far. Calgary hoping to give him a bit more run support as that rolling puck right onto Villalta. He'll leave it for Lamoureux. The blue liner sends it into the Calgary end. Sergeyev comes out to play it, bumps it over to White. Along the wall, Connaughton plays it down low. Straight to Cicek for Hunt. Flicks it ahead, looking for Gridden. Cut off by Zuber. And Morton the other way. Down the wall, pulls up to Gridden. Snaps it in with a backhand, and that's an equally good save there from Matt Villalta. A little bit of a goaltending clinic here tonight. I am liking it a lot. Cicek, stretch pass for Dryden Hunt. No icing, as that did touch his stick. And Russo to the wall. McGregor tries to put it between the circles. Cleaned up by Morton. Flipped to center. Falls to Hunt. Gridden. Push to center. Grishnikov, rink wide to Miromanov. He'll snap it down low. Villalta with a piece of it. Onyebuchi takes it from the corner. Bank pass over to Robbie Russo. Through center. Calgary cuts it off. William Stromgren. For Miromanov, back to Stromgren, goes rink wide. Ferk wasn't expecting it. Stromgren in the neutral zone. To open ice for Ferk. Wanted to return it. It's picked off. Hebig. Pagansky drops it off, and they score. Tucson taking advantage of a neutral zone turnover, and we are tied at 1.
Yeah, Martin Ferk was trying to do a no-look pass and zip that across the entirety of the neutral zone to Rory Cairns to spring a rush, but instead he turned it right over to Hebig, started a 3-on-2, and nice job coming in as the third man there. Noel Nord is able to jump into the play and fire that shot on the blocker side of Sergeyev, beat him for the first time tonight, and tie the game.
Sixth goal of the season for Nord, the rookie from Sweden, third-round pick of the Coyotes. Calgary looking to reply quickly. Cairns, Stromgren, Nord on the back check. Little shuffle in the lines here as Suniev right now skating with Stromgren and Cairns. We'll see if that'll stick.
Just the one change here after the goal against. Ferk came off and Suniev went on.
Bruni bumps it over to Perunovic. Missing that stretch pass was McCartney. Suniev for Brustevich. Ties up Rooney. Brustevich through the circles in his own end, and he'll go for a skate. Finds Stromgren. Dumps it in deep before heading to the bench for a change. Bishop takes it off the wall. Gives it up to Perunovic. Holding the line, White. Fans on the pass attempt, and Matika going the other way. Matika waits, passes, and they score. Just like that, Tucson with a 2-1 lead in the second period, coming off a couple of Calgary turnovers.
This time it's Ben McCartney who's going to get the goal. It's going to be his 19th goal this season, which leads the Roadrunners. And after I was complimenting Gavin White a little bit earlier, this one he just kind of mishandles at the blue line as it comes back to him at the point. He has trouble handling it. Leads to a 2-on-1 the other way, and Matika with a great pass as Ottenbright slid to try and break it up. But Matika is able to find McCartney, and his shot got a piece of Sergeyev, but then bounced into the net.
And those goals coming just over a minute apart for Tucson, both of them even strength. So for the first time tonight, Calgary trying to play catch-up. 15:24 to go, second period. Kirkland over to Ottenbright. Clark Bishop lifts it into Tucson territory. There's Zuber. And Ricketts flips that ahead. Chasing is Allard. Takes it at the circle, puts it into the blue, and Sergeyev taking no chances. He'll hang on for the draw.
Yeah, so Martin Ferk now skating with Kirkland and with Clark Bishop on what I would consider a third line, more of a checking role. But even in that next shift, you can tell that he wanted the puck on his stick and was really pushing, trying to get back on the defensive side of things. Like he's a gamer, and he knows he made a mistake. And now he's been working hard to try and get right and help the Wranglers tie this game.
Celia McGregor, face off in the Calgary end. Back to Russo, snapped in on goal. Hits the end wall. All Tucson right now, that goes low slot. Simashev pinches. Back to the line, Russo loads up, shoots, and no rebound.
Yeah, the Roadrunners winning all the races, get that face-off win on that last play. Celia does a good job to drive the puck into the corner, but once it's there, the Roadrunners win the battle. They're able to go back to the point, and the way the Roadrunners have created a lot of their offense is from their blue line. They have some real talented defensemen out there when you think about Simashev, Lamoureux, even Zuber is a talented blue liner, and those are just kind of the young prospects that they have on the back end, not to mention Perunovic.
It's funny, I feel like this is deja vu in that we had this conversation about a month ago when Tucson was here, and I think we said pretty much the same thing. I know I was speaking of Maverick Lamoureux, and just 6'7", 217 pounds, but he moves so well for a big man on the back end.
Yeah, the Quebec native is just a hulking player, like you mentioned. Former first-round pick in 2022. He's played a little bit in the NHL.
Yeah, 20 games.
5 this year, 15 last year.
Carter King coming the other way, drops it off for Celia. King in tight, bounces away from him. Oh, that is a heavy collision on Lucas Siona. Onyebuchi loading up in the corner. Siona looks like he's okay, and Hebig coming the other way as he heads south, puts it in on Sergeyev. Brustevich, nice move behind his net to create some space, and the outlet pass now for Miromanov. Lucas Siona, no worse for wear. He'll get bumped once again, this time by Perunovic, and a reverse hit by Celia. That's a big size difference there, Celia and Onyebuchi. Ahead, Calgary with numbers, slipping through, and he scores! Sam Martin is hot! It's 2-2.
Over a 4-game goal-scoring streak for one Sam Morton. He's got 11 goals on the season. It's going to be point number 26 in this, his 42nd game. Continues to be a key contributor on the offensive side of things. Thought that last year in the second half of the season especially, started to find his offensive touch. This year he's wearing a letter. He's got the A. He's playing on what you'd consider the top line with Gridden and Hunt today. And there, get an opportunity to tie the game and make no mistake. Buries that one blocker side on Villalta and ties this one up with just under 14 minutes to go in period 2.
Picking up the assists, Lucas Siona, Hunter Brustevich. Really nice primary assist from Siona, who just dusted himself off after that big hit from Onyebuchi. I like that from him, but yeah, Sam Morton, and we'll talk about him maybe a little bit more throughout the broadcast, but now a 5-game point streak, and something you touched upon, 5 goals now in 4 games. So he's heating up at the right time. We're tied at 2 as we approach the halfway mark of regulation in this contest. Right out in front, Dryden Hunt. Nobody marking him, and he just can't send it home. Villalta, I think, getting a piece of that with his glove.
This top line going to work now.
Brustevich back in his own end. Swings it to Gridden, gains the line. Leaves it for Hunt. Cheechek leans into that. Villalta's got it with Morton on the doorstep. And hey, how the tables turn in hockey. It was all Tucson for a while, but you said the top line getting the work done, and exactly right now doing that. And as we go for our first scrape of the ice, this is the perfect segue to this topic I wanted to bring up with you. So Jonathan Huberdeau done for this season. That opens the door for another call-up. And I don't want you to say Matvei Gridden for this. Who would you like to see called up next for the Flames from the Wranglers?
Well, Matvei Gridden's an easy one because there are 11 forwards without him. Like, I think that John Beecher's injury is going to be interesting to monitor coming out of the break, because if Beecher returns, all of a sudden you can put him as your 4th-line center, and you can bump Pospisil up to play on the wing somewhere in your top 9. If Beecher isn't healthy to go, the immediate guy that I would go to is a Sam Morton.
Yeah.
He's on the younger end. I'd still consider him have a little bit of kind of a prospect feel to him at 26.
Yep.
Second full season as pro. We've seen him really mature in the AHL here over the last, I would say, kind of calendar year since becoming a Wrangler a couple of years ago, his first full year of pro. Now he's been a top 6, if not the top line center for this team, pretty much game in and game out all year. Got the 1 game last season, scored in it. Yep. He would be someone that I'd be looking to. Now, you got a couple of other options here. Like, we know that Dryden Hunt is always an option for the team. I think William Stromgren, who's had a look already, 3rd in franchise scoring with 105 points since the Wranglers came to Calgary. You don't just do that by accident. Rory Cairns is right there as the franchise leader in points too. And you wonder if, another sniff kind of kicks them and kind of kickstarts their season here. It's kind of plateaued a little bit for Stromgren since he returned to the AHL. Cairns has not had the scoring touch that he's shown in prior seasons playing down here. Those are the guys that I would look to. I don't think Suniev yet. I wonder if he gets like a late call-up at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But someone that I would like to see get at least another taste of the NHL before the 26th season comes to an end.
Yeah, I agree on all fronts. That's not an easy reply. I genuinely agree on all fronts. 13:04 to go. Second period tied at 2. Sam Morton with his 11th of the year from Lucas Siona and Hunter Brustevich. White pushes it down low. Stromgren in tight. Picked up by Suniev off the wall. Bumps it back to White, who had been spilled. And Sergeyev has to come way out to make the play. Good enough to get it into the neutral zone. Buys his mates some time to get back in. That skirts by everybody as a cross-seam pass. Pagansky bumps it back to Russo. He'll reset in his own end. 19 shots for Tucson. Calgary with 15. Zuber snaps it into Calgary territory. Excuse me, that was Simashev. And White is bumped in his own end. Stromgren through the neutral zone. Chips it in on Villalta, and he'll quickly cover that puck.
Waited a little bit. The Wranglers take that offensive zone draw all day. This is one of those situations with the rolling puck that the Roadrunners are unable to change as well. Or, excuse me, they will be afforded the opportunity to change here. So Kevin Rooney will come out and do the defensive side of things. The Wranglers will match it with their own checking line with Ferk, Kirkland, and Bishop in the offensive zone. Try and set up that Martin Ferk shot here.
And we have not seen Sammy Walker since that first period. Took a very heavy hit. Hopefully everything is okay on his end. Grishnikov in his own zone. Gives it up to McCartney, but taken right back. Bishop holds off the glass. Bounces at the Tucson line. It's picked up by Perunovich, being watched by Kirkland. He'll pull up behind his own net. Perunovich snaps it to the wing, looking for Rooney. That'll be icing.
Perunovich trying to get that bounce play for Rooney. The Wranglers weren't going to go chasing number 7 around behind his net. He's really quick on his skates. He can make those subtle little moves and escapes pressure really well. So you definitely don't want to go chasing him behind the net. He's going to just go out the other side, and all of a sudden it's a 5-on-4 up the ice, and you got a man chasing the play. So I like they just waited and forced him to make a play and forced him offside.
Calgary's top line out again on the offensive zone draw. Morton versus Rooney, one-time teammates. Scramble. Tucson now wins it. Perunovich once again behind his net, being watched by Gridden as Perunovich directs traffic and leaves it for McCartney. He'll gain speed through the zone, nearly evades a hit there, and picks it up. McCartney, one-timer, and that misses the near side post by Pagansky. Sam Morton, the man who made this 2-2. He'll chip and chase. Perunovich gets there first, gives him a bump. And the breakout begins for Tucson. Brustevich forcing his man wide. Cicek to the half wall for Gridden. He'll go rink wide for Dryden Hunts. Hunts holds, wants the trailer, and it's cut off. Maybe an odd man rush the other way. Zuber pinches, takes it into the corner, puts it in, and he put it into the blue, and then it's put into the back of the net. The lead is back for Tucson. The captain, Austin Pagansky, it's 3-2.
That's a tough shift for Dryden Hunt. Pagansky will get his 12th goal of the year at 9:38 here to go up 3-2. Dryden Hunt has the entry in the offensive zone and forces a pass to Matvei Gridden, and that started to rush the other way. They already had a defenseman deep in Brustevich who was attacking on the rush, so that started the Roadrunners the other way, and Hunt is able to get back and try and make a play, but unfortunately doesn't get all of the pass, and it went right to Pagansky, and he's able to knock that home past Sergeyev to give the Roadrunners back a 3-2 lead.
So Calgary chasing once again, looking for the reply. Snapped in on goal by Ottenbright. Scooped up by Villalta. Ferk having a chuckle with Villalta.
Yeah, a little bit of a chip on the puck right in front of Villalta that caused him to bobble it just a little bit. Jumped on it and didn't allow the Wranglers to get at that second rebound.
So it's that veteran trio, and they'll win the draw. Ottenbright loads up, shoots, blocked. He'll get another chance. Now it's Ferk unleashing, and that is blocked by Robbie Russo as he winces in pain and goes back to the Tucson bench.
Yeah, he followed Ferk out to the top of the zone and ate that one right off the top of the skate.
Glove down by Perunovic. Little entangling there with the linesman, so it's offside. 9:46 left in this one. Now up to 20 shots for Tucson, 17 for Calgary.
Just watching Russo kind of hop up and down on the bench, try and get the bees out of his skate there, following the block on Ferk. That one was put on a tee for him, and he got a pretty good hold of it. So some guys, when you get that shot from the point, it gets blocked, you're in danger of a breakaway the other way. But with Ferk, it does so much damage that rarely, if you block that, are you able to actually skate and get down the ice and take advantage of the chance.
Just outside 9 minutes to go. Second period, 3-2, the lead for Tucson. Opener of this back-to-back. As Perunovic with a diagonal dump in. King deep in his own end. Over to Miramanov. Siona. Rink wide. Grishnikov. Ahead for Carter King. That drops off the glass. Straight to Villalta. As Onyebuchi stretches that out. Chance now. Saved. Loose. And they score. It is poked home. A bit of a calamity in the Calgary end. And now a 2-goal lead for Tucson. Jack Ricketts, his first in the AHL.
Yeah, they're picking up the puck there as Ricketts is going to get the goal, getting to the crease and jumping on that loose puck in the zone. It just didn't look like Cicek and Brustevich were ready to come off the bench on the change. The defenders both got there in time, but it was a little bit of a late jump onto the bench from both defensemen, and the Roadrunners turned that one quickly, realizing it was a bit of a sketchy change from the Wranglers, and they went on the break and they take advantage just like that. Similar to what happened with the first two Roadrunners goals, it's two quick ones, and Calgary's trailing by 2.
Tipped in by Cairns. Villalta leaves it for Zuber. McCartney walks his line. Flips into the Calgary end. Brustevich chasing. Around the wall for Suniev. Matika walks it to the circle. Shoots, fans on it. Disrupted by Suniev. The cycle continues for Tucson. Bump back to the line. Gets away from Lamoureux. And that goal reading Ricketts from Matika and Onyebuchi. McCartney for Lamoureux. Extra attacker coming out for Tucson. So Calgary headed back to the box. 6-on-5 right now. Zuber has to reverse. Gets away from Hunt. And now Lamoureux. He'll work it up ice to the far flank. Touched by Calgary. And now a power play coming, our first penalty of this second period.
Yeah, it seems to be when it rains, it pours for the Wranglers this season. And William Stromgren gets on the forecheck here, but Maverick Lamoureux, it's not like he's a small, shifty player. Like, he can move pretty good, but he's a boat, and he spins away from Stromgren, and he just kind of kicks the leg out, kicks the one leg on Lamoureux, and that's what caused the arm to go up. So one that Stromgren won't be happy with, and a tough one to take right after your team has given up 2 quick goals.
Tucson 0 for 2 on the man advantage tonight, although coming into this contest ranked 13th with that power play. Perunovic, little flick pass to the near circle for Hebig. Walks it into the corner. Cam Hebig, left point, Perunovic. They'll play catch along the wall. Hebig in tight, looking for the bumper play. Calgary reads it, but they can reset. Perunovic switches with Hebig. In tight, trying to pick that corner was McCartney. Simashev holds the opposite point. Perunovic whips that across. Hebig takes it off the wall. In tight, looking for space, and they score on the power play. The bleeding continues for the Wranglers as Tucson extends its lead.
Yeah, McCartney just jumping on that rebound in front of the net. He's able to jam it home after the Roadrunners run this wall to the net front plate almost to perfection. Hebig goes down to Pagansky right near the net. Both the defenders come in and crash, and just like that, that'll end the night for Arsenij Sergeyev. And neither of these goaltenders have really been able to grab a hold of the net. Ivan Prosvetov is just coming back from injury. He's only played in 3 games. First game was great. He stopped 30 of 33 or 33 of 36 in a win against Laval in his first game back in action. Next game he gives up 5 on 42 in a loss. And the game after that he gave up 4 on 17 and was pulled. Sergeyev came in relief. Last game he gives up 3 on 30 in the overtime loss. Don't necessarily feel like it's been on him today.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
If you're Sergeyev, you gotta be having a little bit of trouble kind of keeping your head up here. We've talked about him on other broadcasts, but he's 1-3, and if this holds, it'll go to 1-3-6. And these last couple games are kind of crushing his numbers. He gave up 5 on 26 a few starts ago, and now this. And just tough for the young netminder, 23 years old, who was forced into action with injuries to Owen Save, Prosvetov earlier on in the season. Kind of sticking around a little bit now, but a tough one here for him today. See if this is something that can get the Wranglers going. See what Siona has to do here. Like, you don't have Gallant in the lineup to go and grab somebody and try and build a little momentum that way.
Sure.
Lucas Siona would kind of be the guy I look to if you're going to try and turn the tide in that sense.
So Tucson with 5 second period goals. 2 off the stick of Ben McCartney, Noel Nord, Austin Pagansky, and Jack Ricketts picking up his first AHL goal. Miramanov off the glass and out. Celia tied up along the wall. That'll draw a penalty. So Calgary headed to the power play. Maybe a chance to poke at some momentum here with just under 7 minutes to go in the second period.
Yeah, Celia was about to get past Zuber, the big defender, and he'll sit in the box for the second time today. He had the early penalty in the contest. Interference will be the call on this one. Just wouldn't let Celia go and chase that puck into the corner. And now you have a chance to get yourself right back into this game because it's kind of come undone in just a matter of minutes. But you get one more on the power play and all of a sudden you're back within 2 and still got plenty of time left in period number 2.
So the unit that scored will start on this man advantage. Miramanov right off the draw shoots, and that dribbles in on Villalta. Can't handle the rebound. Goes into the corner. Simashev off the glass, and it dribbles into the Calgary zone as Prosvetov has his first touch of the evening.
I like the Miramanov one for the quick shot off the face-off win. Don't waste any time.
Stromgren pushes his way into the Tucson end. Doesn't get it in deep. Miramanov doesn't hold the line, blows a tire, and Firk in his own end. Miramanov drops it off for Stromgren. Through center, flips it over to Kirkland. Firk snaps it down low. Suniev marked by 2 Roadrunners, and McCartney will skate it out. Eats up some of that clock. McGregor, tied up by Firk. Stromgren pokes it over to Miramanov. He'll take a beat behind his net. 51 seconds to go on the man advantage for Calgary. Cairns bumps it back for Dryden Hunt. We'll have a look at the other power play unit now. Hunt for Morton, who has one of 2 Calgary goals tonight. Cairns for Morton. Hit by Onyebuchi. Gridden from the wall. Spreads it back to Brustevich. Cairns back to Brustevich. Puts it into the circle. Cairns. Hunt. Morton, not a lot of space. Over to Hunt. Brustevich at the line, back to Hunt. Brustevich. Gridden wants to go through the blue. Cut off, and we're back to 5-on-5.
Yeah, they finally got set up and kind of got off the wall there. Roadrunners were laying some good pressure, but just couldn't get anything near the crease. Gridden trying that cross seam pass, but got defended and tipped and led to that final clear.
White pulls up at the line. He'll guide it down low for Gridden. Russo batting at it. Hand pass and a whistle with 4:14 left in period number 2. The AHL hits harder on FloHockey. Every game, every goal, every hit all season long. AHL TV on FloHockey gives you access to every AHL game. Watch your team, follow top prospects, and stay on top of all the action on the ice. Go to CalgaryWranglers.com to subscribe now to stream it all live on AHL TV on FloHockey. And that schedule continues. The closer of the back-to-back is tomorrow. Little bit of an earlier puck drop. It'll be at 6 o'clock. And then the All-Star break happening in Rockford as Matvei Gridden will head and take in that experience. Then 4 on the road for the Wranglers. A pair versus the Manitoba Moose. So their first meeting of the season. And then a quick 2-gamer in California with a stop in Bakersfield and in San Jose.
Yeah, so chances to see Gridden and Brustevich for sure are limited. Tomorrow, the 6 o'clock start, the next-gen game in partnership with the Flames is going to be the kind of last opportunity at home, because they play on the 24th and the 25th back here in Calgary against the Barracuda. But by that time, the Flames will be back practicing and maybe even down in San Jose to be playing the Sharks, because that's the Flames' next game on the road in San Jose on the 26th. So over the course of this All-Star break, Gridden and Brustevich might end up playing the majority of their games on the road, or in fact, definitely will be playing the majority of their games on the road. So your opportunities to come see them at this level, where they're really handling the puck more and kind of being the guys and seeing what the future might look like for them at the NHL level. Well, you got tomorrow at 6, and then kind of rolling the dice on those last 2 home games against the Barracuda later on in February.
Yeah, by the way, from what I hear, I think the lower bowl is more or less sold out for tomorrow. So you want to hop on those tickets, head over to the Calgary Wranglers website. Should be a good way to spend a Saturday night.
Well, you definitely want to make sure you're getting here early, too, with the Dustin Wolf pins that are going to be given.
Yep, special puck drop coming as well.
Wonder who it is.
I'm going to leave it up to everybody to figure out. I've dangled the carrot. I've given away all I can. Just outside 4 minutes to go, second period. Calgary looking to cut this lead. Getting some energy here from the fourth line. Siona, King, Bishop. And that's in a bit of a blender, too. Galalta comes out to play it. Barunovich. Allard can't get it in deep, but picks up the loose puck. And we've got a scrap. We saw this one coming after a heavy hit earlier in this second period. A tilt at center ice. Lucas Siona and Montagna Onyebuchi. And for Siona, well, he's a big boy too. 6'2", 210 pounds. Onyebuchi, 6'3", 220 as they grapple, and the linesmen get in there before any punches are really thrown, but a tussle and maybe some energy for the Wranglers. The bench needs it.
Yeah, Lucas Siona coming in, the former WHLer with the Seattle Thunderbirds, 22 years old, 6'2", like you mentioned. Onyebuchi's a bigger customer, 6'3", 220. He also played in the Dub. He was with Everett for a long time, and kind of in a similar time frame to right as Siona was getting into the league. Onyebuchi was kind of on his way out, but both of them played in that U.S. division. I don't think Onyebuchi liked the hit that Siona threw on the forecheck down on Perunovic, and they kind of grabbed each other, and a lot of grappling, a lot of jersey holding as they both tried to get a hand free, and eventually it was Onyebuchi who kind of jerseyed Siona, and typically when the jersey comes over the head, that's when the officials are going to step in. Things get kind of dangerous when one guy loses his vision like that, and you're all tangled up. So unfortunately it wasn't the best scrap, and we'll see how much that fires up the Wranglers, but did feel like that was going to be coming at some point.
Yeah, you called it actually probably, 5-6 minutes ago. Expected something to happen.
So a few things you can do to kind of change momentum, right? Like goalie switches one, fighting's another one, big hits, obviously scoring goals, plays like that.
Suniev stood up at the opposition blue line. That'll be tabbed for offside with 3:21 to go, so a 3-goal lead for Tucson, and things really exploding in this second period with 5 from the visitors, and basically the sandwich, the inner part of that sandwich is the Sam Morton goal, which seems like a lifetime ago all of a sudden. His 11th of the year coming at 6:13 from Lucas Siona and Hunter Brustevich. Tucson winning the draw. Nord bats it past Brustevich. She checked deep in his own end. Onto the wall for Dryden Hunt. That is gloved down by Lamoureux. Plays it onto the end wall. She check ties up his man. Fished free by Tucson to the line. Zuber, he'll go rink wide. Lamoureux. Wanted Pagansky. Brustevich. Tucson trying to spread it out once again. Pagansky gets past Brustevich and Morton. Pagansky looks for a pass. Brustevich clears as far as center. And Zuber takes a awkward collision from Gridden. Looks like everybody's okay. Gridden, Hunt calling for it, goes off of his skates in the low slot, and it's cleared by Tucson. That should be icing.
Yeah, that was just to kind of get this puck out of here, and we'll try and reset play from the Roadrunners. Not even close to a passing try. They were a little bit bent out of shape after another collision along the end wall. Another awkward one that has Gridden involved. This time it's with Zuber. The defender's able to pop right back up. So no harm, no foul, but now you got an ozone draw with this veteran line for the Wranglers.
Kirkland, Pagansky. They'll dig in. Face-off coming blocker side on Villalta. Turned aside 17 Calgary shots in this game. Perfect versus the Wranglers this season.
Some craftsmanship around the face-off here from Pagansky with some of his mates tired.
Little bit of gamesmanship off the draw. Kirkland follows it down low. Bishop along the wall, works it back to the line. Miramanov waits, shoots, and it's in. Daniil Miramanov with his first goal since December 14th, and that'll give Calgary some life.
6 goals on the year for Miramanov. They eventually win that faceoff following the icing. Bishop does a good job of going to that battle in the corner. Kirkland, who was hanging around right in front of the net, helped win that battle below, went right to the net, set a big screen with Zuber right in front. Villalta can't see anything, and a seeing eye shot from Miramanov has the Wranglers back within 2 at 17:51 of period 2.
And we talk about Justin Kirkland. He was the net front presence on 2 of 3 of Calgary's goals tonight. So really welcome to have him back with this group. McCartney wanting Matika. Grishnikov from the corner. Martin Furk takes a look in his own end, banks it over to Grishnikov. Leaves it for Bishop. He'll give it up down low. Everybody fanning on that. Back to the line. Perunovic leaning into that one, and it is deflected wide. Matika. Back to Russo. Deflected just wide. McCartney Shakes off a check. He's got 2 goals tonight, looking for the hat trick. He won't get it there. Bishop waits in his own end. Hacked out by Kirkland, and that one of those situations, what happened with Tucson just earlier, just fire it down the ice and we'll figure it out later, and that's exactly what the Wranglers do here.
Yeah, the Wranglers D got a little bit out of sorts. Martin Furt kind of chased the defender over to the other side of the ice. He's the right winger, chased over to the left side, so they had a couple of defenders over there, and everyone was trying to get themselves sorted.
Face-off will come.
Tired legs for the Wranglers here with 1:16 left, trying to hold on after getting that last goal.
So the face-off coming blocker side on Ivan Prosvetov, who's come into this game in relief for Sergeyev. Simishev off the face-off win. Kicks it down low. To the other side. Lamoureux winds up. Tees that one up straight into Prosvetov.
Simishev is a lot of fun to watch. 6th overall pick a few years back. Big skater, right? He stands at 6'5", 201 pounds, the big Russian defender. Skates well, handles the puck well. He's got really soft hands for someone his size. Sees the ice well. He's got good confidence with the puck on his stick. A lot to like from, like I said earlier, just another young player the Mammoth have coming.
Simishev off the draw to Lamoureux. Dribbles behind the Calgary nets. Wranglers looking to keep this perimeter. Allard holds, but it's kicked into the neutral zone. Under a minute to go, second period. 5-3 the lead for Tucson. Turning into a barn burner here. Opener of a back-to-back between these Pacific Division rivals. Ottenbright turns it over deep in his own end. A shot, and that one misses glove side. Karen's trying to chase. Lamoureux gets there first. For McGregor. Rooney's shot is blocked by White. Stromgren with a reverse hit in the far corner. Off the glass and out. Decent draw weight, but it will be icing with 6 seconds to go.
Yeah, now the Wranglers have to try and defend here. A bit of another leg-burning shift back-to-back for Calgary. 7 seconds left, so you'd think they'll probably load up that middle of the ice, try and make sure they got some guys to block any passes, but the easiest way to get to this intermission down by just 2 is have Rory Cairns win the draw.
He'll direct some traffic. Yeah, 3 on that inner hash. Right off the draw, it's hacked in on goal. Cleaned up by Cairns. Stick is lifted last moment, but that'll see us through. 40 minutes done, and wow, Tucson exploding for 5 goals in the second period. One of them on the power play. And what was the turning point for you in this one, where things really shifted towards Tucson's end?
Well, those 2 goals coming a minute apart to give the Roadrunners the lead really kind of changed things. Calgary gets it back. They're able to tie the game, but it was pretty early on that you felt like the Roadrunners really had their feet in second period and were winning all the races. So it wasn't too far into period 2. It became pretty apparent about how Tucson was going to handle that frame.
All right, 5-3 after 40. Calgary will look to come from behind in the third. You're watching on FloHockey and listening on Sportsnet 960 The Fan. Well, the Wranglers looking to do something that's only happened 3 times this American Hockey League season, and that is winning when trailing through 40 minutes. 3-16-2, 5-3 the score right now in favor of Tucson. As for the Roadrunners, undefeated this season when up after 40. So thanks again for joining us on FloHockey and Sportsnet 960 The Fan on your Friday night. This is the opener of a back-to-back, and this is a crucial contest, Maddie, because if you look at the Pacific Division these days, it is tight. Calgary coming into this contest 9th in the division, 7th for Tucson, 6-point lead on Calgary, 2 games in hand.
And you're really quickly starting to run out of runway to kind of get yourself into those top 7 spots. You know, for the last couple of years, it's been basically a fait accompli that the Wranglers have been in the postseason. That is not the case this year. They're actually having to fight tooth and nail, and you kind of look at the way that the roster has changed over the course of the year, and you can't really be too surprised, but that does not make a difference for anybody in that locker room or standing behind that bench.
So Siona and Onyebuchi sitting in the boxes right now, serving out the rest of their fighting majors, and I can see them jawing at each other. The conversation looks rather animated, but play goes on. Chip and chase for Rory Cairns. Sealed off by Zuber to the glass. Kick back to the line. Cicek shoots. That goes far. Glove side on Villalta. Brustevich snaps it in on goal, and he'll miss. Cicek holds the line. Bats it down low for Stromgren, who chases along the far wall. Tries to drop it off. Kevin Rooney cleans it up. He takes a heavy hit from Stromgren as it's juggled in midair by McCartney. No icing. Cicek back for Calgary. Burke leaves it for Brustevich. Forward swapping out for the Wranglers. Brustevich. Dryden Hunt leads the team with 3 shots tonight. Dances into the zone. Loses the puck in the process. That'll get snapped rink wide for Paganski. Miramanov there first. One-hands it to the near wall. And back to Miramanov for Grishnikov. Gridden tapped off of his stick. Push to center. Russo bumps it back to Onyebuchi. Excuse me, that was Simashev. Onyebuchi still in the box. And Russo to Simashev. .26 to go, 3rd period. 2-goal lead for Tucson. Gridden supporting on the back check. To the wing. White pinches, follows it down low, still with it. In his Wranglers' home debut, he'll go rink wide with that pass. Kick save Villalta. Off the glass, not out. Held by Ottenbright as far as the half wall. Reaches for it again. McCartney taps it off the glass and out. That gets tipped into the Tucson bench. We'll get a whistle with just a little over 2 off the clock here in the 3rd.
Yeah, Clark Bishop directing that one right towards the head coach of the Tucson Roadrunners as we welcome the 2 fighters back to the ice surface in Lucas Siona and Montana Onyebuchi. See if we get anything else between the 2 as the game continues here today. Certainly some tough customers on the Roadrunners side of the ice too.
Yeah, that is for sure. Big team, pretty mobile. Cicek for Brustevich, returns the pass. Bishop. Bishop once again. Across for Suniev. Scored on the power play. Tries to cycle it down low, Allard. Pickpocketed. Bishop holds the line. Can't bat it over to Suniev. And Ricketts has his first AHL goal. Cashed in on some crumbs in the Calgary crease there in the 2nd period. Brustevich. Waits between the circles. Over to Cicek, and Calgary breaks it out, but that pass misses Siona. Well, at least I thought it did. It was going to lead to icing, but it does not. Celia. Siona below the goal line. But there's Perunovic, and Perunovic, for his part, leads the team with 4 shots in this game. He's been noticeable all over the ice. Onyebuchi's shot is blocked by King. Prosvetov will stop that behind his net. Daniil Miromanov. He's got 1 of 3 Calgary goals. Nice move at center. Dishes to King. He'll shoot. And straight into the glove of Villalta.
There's been quite a few of the shots from the Wranglers that have been like that from distance. Not really high danger. Just kind of wrist shots trying to put it in a place. And Villalta reaches up and makes it an easy glove save after Miromanov tried to make his way through the entire Roadrunners team. Couple of moves to get around the first guy, but ran into a little bit of a logjam at the blue line. King was there, his support was able to step in and get that shot opportunity.
So a new look trio here, at least for tonight. Cairns, Furk, and Stromgren. Tucson wins a defensive zone draw. White reverses in his own end. Leaves it along the boards for Cairns. He'll go rink wide, back to White. For Stromgren. Does get it in deep. Villalta plays it. Given up at the circles. Stromgren. Wanted Cairns. Stromgren. Button hooks behind the net. Plays it off the net. Centering pass from Furk doesn't reach Cairns. Held by Ottenbright. Good cycle here from Calgary. Furk back to the line. Ottenbright. White activates. On the doorstep is Cairns, just wide through the seam. Furk. Stromgren. Shot is blocked. Clears the zone. Calgary needs to tag up. Nearly 5 off the clock. Third period. 5-3 the lead for Tucson.
It's a strong shift from the Wranglers in the offensive zone as they've put that line back together from earlier. Suniev back skating with Kirkland and Bishop.
Cicek back in his own end for Brustevich. And to Cicek. On his forehand over to Dryden Hunt. They don't connect. Given up deep in the Calgary end as McGregor lifts that over the Calgary net. Brustevich for Cicek. Hunt. He'll go rink wide. Off the walls. Hunt. Pumps it over to Cicek. Rink wide pass. Brustevich. Gridden to Brustevich. Cicek from the circle shoots. Puck loose in the slot. Gridden. Hunt. Gridden holding the point. To Cicek. He puts it in, and it goes wide. Brustevich for Gridden. He's now on the near side, works it back to the line. The Blue Liners went for a change. And Calgary with a reset in the neutral zone. Waiting is Hunt, marked by Zuber. And Ricketts the other way. Gets by Grushnikov. Miromanov ahead to Gridden. Drop pass for Kirkland. He's got pace. Kirkland forced wide, shoots. That's picked up off the glass by Miromanov. Here's the captain for Suniev. Leaning into that one is Bishop, and that is hacked wide into the netting. But a couple of good back-to-back shifts here from Calgary.
Exactly, a few good shifts in a row. It starts off with the what I would call your second line here today, going out and having a real strong shift, getting in the offensive zone. I thought Stromgren had a couple of really nice plays, being on the puck, moving all around the zone, hounding pucks, doing a good job following up on things. And then you follow it up with the Gridden group. They had another good shift. Gridden is able to create a little bit around the edges and try and get the puck towards the middle of the ice a little bit. And then you follow that up with your third line going out and getting the offense going. Suniev with a couple of nice plays at the blue line. Cicek had a couple of opportunities to put the puck to the net and just missed, kind of putting that one on the tape back door as the Wranglers putting together 3 or 4 really good shifts in a row here. Now you got to to keep following up on it, because unfortunately you're still down by 2 despite those 3 solid shifts to kick off this period.
Just want to tease something for tomorrow on Saturday's episode of Wranglers Watch. This was pretty neat. I had a chance to actually record it on the road. Reese Cicada sitting down with me for the full episode, and we actually break down what happened with the trade. It was just fascinating for me to take that in as somebody who has never really been behind the scenes or privy to that kind of a situation within a sports franchise. So it was really interesting just to see how the team handled it and all the logistics that actually go into making a trade happen. So you get that initial call from Brad Pascal. What happens next? Reese sharing a lot of really cool things that happened behind the scene in that deal that sent Gavin White to Calgary for Jeremy Poirier. So that's at 11 o'clock tomorrow on Sportsnet 960 The Fan.
Always interested to get the little peek behind the curtain there. And I've, for the most part, like Gavin White's evening. One mistake on a blue line bobble that led to a tally for the opposition, but's played pretty well. He's a 2-time OHL champion, one with Hamilton and Peterborough a couple of years apart from each other.
Interesting story there. He was a teammate with Grushnikov in the AHL as part of Texas, but he was actually a teammate of Grushnikov in Hamilton, and Gavin shared he helped Artem learn English.
Yeah, that team, Mason McTavish was on that team.
Oh, it's loaded.
Jack guy was on that team. They had a little bit of everything out there playing with that Bulldogs group.
13 minutes to go, third period. Calgary down by 2. As they'll have to contend with a defensive zone draw here, as Prosvetov really with his first touch of this final frame. He hasn't been too busy. 0 shots for Tucson so far.
Yeah, a little bit quiet there ever since they pulled Sergeyev. But that's like what you're looking for, right? You kind of give the spark to your team. Can you wake the fellas up a little bit? And it was that, and then you know, the grappling that we saw between Siona and Onyebuchi that have maybe given the Wranglers a bit of juice here. And now a nice hard hit from Siona. They're going to call that one, though.
Yeah. Happening right in front of the Calgary bench. Siona now getting involved with Robbie Russo. Hebig going shoulder to shoulder here with David Celia.
Just interested to see what the call ends up being here. It was an open ice
charge? I don't...
It was into the back shoulder. It wasn't up against the boards. He had the puck. They're going to call interference.
Okay.
So they felt it was a little bit late, but...
Tucson 1 for 3 on the man advantage tonight. Ben McCartney picking up his 20th of the season at 12:50 of that second period. Another look at that one.
Yeah, there was a couple of Roadrunners that came over and wanted a piece of Siona. I didn't feel like it was that late. It's on the captain, so I understand a little frustration there.
Calgary does win the draw as Bishop sends that 200 feet. Villalta will leave this for Perunovic, who has been all over the ice tonight. Simashev going for a skate through center, forced wide by Cicek. Frees it to Ottenbright. They'll hold the line. Hebig drop past Perunovic. McCartney, he's got 2 tonight. Perunovic holds. Hebig to McCartney, juggles it. Over to Hebig. Simashev. Over to Hebig, top of the slots. McCartney through the seam, trying to go backdoor, and that misses. Perunovic with a reload on the far point, walks it to the middle, drops it off at the circle, and back to Perunovic. Simashev, skate to stick, shoots off the post, and in. 6-3 the lead, Prosvetov up right away, looking to the official, maybe goaltender interference, but I don't think it's going to matter as Pagansky has got his second of the night.
Well, this all starts when you have a great play by Nick Cicek in the corner on Simashev on the entry. He has a nice physical play where he goes out and is able to kind of eliminate Simashev in the corner. Unfortunately, Turner Ottenbright jumps in and he just kind of fans on his clearing attempt, and it didn't get out past the blue line. So you have a really nice play to eliminate the rush, but when you don't get it all the way down the ice, that's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
And 20, 30 seconds later, the Wranglers are pulling it out of the back of their net.
6-3 the lead from Tucson. Ben McCartney with a pair now. Austin Pagansky with a pair on the evening. So both of them on hat trick watch here at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome. Zuber. That's cut off by Furk, but cleared by Tucson. Grishnikov chasing back in his own end. Gets away from Cairns. Here's Martin Furk for Stromgren. Guides it along the dasher. Furk from the corner. Cairns loses it in the corner. Brustevich back in his own end. Nice move to create some space. Over to Cicek, snaps it ahead. Given up by Cairns in the neutral zone, but it's returned to Stromgren. Brustevich waits for a change off the bench. He's getting some fresh forwards. He'll guide it through the neutral zone. Fires it in deep. Villalta seals off the wall behind him. To the line, Cicek finds it at his feet. Blocker save. Morton. Gridden waiting out in front. Here's Brustevich, pumps it down low for Hunt. No look pass, nobody there as Gridden had moved to the top of the slot, and it's cleared, put into the Calgary net, Calgary end by Allard. Sam Morton trying to work his way up ice, elects to bump it back to Cicek. Return pass for Morton. Morton goes rink wide. Hunt off the wall, bats it down low. Perunovich there first. Ottenbright as far as the half wall. Picked up by Gridden. Morton looking for Gridden. Morton's stick is tied up. Ottenbright taking the chance. Hunt will mark him on the point, but it's still cleared. Nice sweep there from White, who had come to the left side of the ice. And we'll get a whistle. 9:42 to go. Period number 3, 6-3 the lead for Tucson. The most recent goal. Oh, and they're crediting Dmitry Simashev on this one. So my apologies after I had said Austin Pagansky. He had leaded the celebration to the bench, but it's his 6th of the season. It comes on the power play at 8:20 from Scott Perunovich and Cameron Hebig.
Went off the post and then off of Prosvetov and snuck behind the netminder.
Kirkland wins the neutral zone draw. White for Suniev. He's forced wide. McCartney shakes off a check from Kirkland to Matika. Stood up by Ottenbright, and Suniev down the near wing. He's by himself, so he'll pull up in the corner. Suniev centers, one-timer. Oh, and that was just unfortunate as Kirkland leaned into everything on a slap shot one-timer, and his stick explodes, which just the worst luck. Bishop for Cairns, shoots. That misses Blocker's side. Picks it up, puts it into the blue, looking for Bishop, who tries to kick it ahead and dig at it, but Matika fishes it free and goes for a chip and chase the other way.
It's a great pass by Suniev off the wall to Kirkland, coming off the bench with speed, but like you mentioned, Sandra, just brutal luck as the stick explodes just above the blade on what would have been one of the best opportunities the Wranglers have had to get one back here in quite some time. So had a couple of chances here today that just haven't had the bounces or the luck necessarily go their way.
Yep, sometimes you have to create your own luck, certainly. 8:40 to go. 6-3 the lead for Tucson. Face off in the Calgary end. It'll come blocker side on Prosvetov. The visitors pull it back from the line. Perunovich to Onyebuchi. His shot is blocked by Grishnikov. That ends up in the netting. And some words being exchanged post-whistle.
Yeah, Onyebuchi down in the corner there, battling away. not going to shy away from a whole lot out there. Typically one of the bigger guys out on the ice.
Yeah.
Was always a pretty fearsome opponent when he played in the dub too.
Scramble on the draw to the half wall. Krishnikov and now Furk. He'll wind through the neutral zone. Spots Stromgren. Stromgren plays it to himself in the corner. Furk. He'll go back to the point. Miramanov through traffic. Stromgren looking for Furk. Stick is lifted at the last moment, and Perunovic was thinking of leading the rush up the ice, but gives it away. Furk goes rink wide, stays in, and now Stromgren picks it up off the wall. Little button hook, pops it back to Cicek, finds a lane, shoots. Furk digging for it, takes a check at the last minute, and 3 through the neutral zone for Tucson.
Yeah, right as he was about to get to that rebound, Onyebuchi just kind of reached out and shoved him over, which is not an easy thing to do.
Brustevich picks it up in his own end. He'll get ridden out in front of his bench. Stromgren wanting to poke it over to Morton. Oh, nice little move here by the rookie. He's got one tonight, and now he's got two. What a lovely individual effort by Ricketts. A night to remember for the rookie.
Yeah, it's a tough one for Brustevich coming back to the AHL. He felt like he could get away from Ricketts and skate himself out of trouble, which he typically can do, but Ricketts closes him off at the wall, wins the battle against 2 Wranglers in the neutral zone, and then a nice little move to get around Brustevich before beating Prosvetov blocker side to now make it 7-3, and feels like the dagger there with 7 minutes and 14 seconds to go. Shots are now 26 apiece.
Jack Ricketts, 26-year-old undrafted product from Ontario. On hat-trick watch himself. McCartney tips that in. Over the stick of Grushnikov. Morton gives it up. Matika shoots, and that is stopped by Prosvetov.
Yeah, things kind of coming undone here as Sam Morton, who's had a pretty strong game there, just kind of gives that one up in the defensive zone, just scooping it ahead of him to nobody. That's an easy turnover for the Roadrunners, leading to another shot. Prosvetov leaves no rebound, but another easy reload for the Roadrunners.
Just taking a look here at Jack Ricketts, and just quite a journey. The OJHL, then goes into NCAA, College of Holy Cross, where he was the captain for 1 season. And then he goes into the portal. After that, signs a pro deal, has spent most of the season in the ECHL this year, 18 points in 30 games, but now in his 7th game with Tucson. Just really nice performance here from the kid from Oakville. Matvei Gridin takes it off the wall, protects, gets bumped by Zuber, who's lost his stick. 3 Wranglers below the Tucson goal line. Gridin trying to kick it free. Morton taken to the ground. And that a little bit of a personification of the night that it's been for the Wranglers, I would say.
Yeah, going in to help the battle. Gridin taking on a couple of Roadrunners. He's really strong for a 19-year-old and does good work along the wall, but they're unable to win his battle. He had kind of escaped the zone a little bit early, just was unable to get that puck to the middle of the ice and find Sam Morton as some frustrated faces showing on that bench for the Wranglers.
6:12 left in the third. 7-3 the lead for Tucson in the opener of this back-to-back. Tucson perfect in this building so far this season. Calgary's 4th line wanting to create some energy. Lifted into the neutral zone, picked up by Turner Ottenbright from the circle, shoots, and that is fought off by Villalta. Would like to see the blue line getting involved a little bit more, certainly, so an opportunity there for a guy who's not really known for his offensive prowess, but putting it on goal nonetheless. White fires it in deep off the glass into the corner. Pagansky leads the rush up the ice, drops it off for Pagansky, wanted the tip play, that goes wide. And Carter King for Lucas Siona. Siona has to track back over to Pagansky, he overskates it. White takes over in his own end. Circles behind the net, fresh skaters coming out for the Wranglers. Grishnikov backhands it into the opposite corner. Kirkland, he'll get boxed out. Heavy hit there from the captain, who I have to say has been engaged all night. I just love his motor despite the score. Trying to take his team back into the fight, trying to lead by example is number 19. Perunovic just happy to hold it behind his net. Fans getting a little bit restless here at the Scotiabank Saddledome as he gets it over to Robbie Russo. Dumps it into the corner. Bishop back for Miramanov. He'll lift that to center. Bishop bats it over to Suniev. Grishnikov takes it off the wall. He'll go rink wide. Miramanov. Short side shot is handled by Villalta. And a give and go the other way. Read well by Miramanov. Suniev. That should be icing with under 4 left here in the third.
Yeah, the Wranglers trying to get just something going, like you mentioned. There's a little bit of impatience certainly growing here as Perunovic was just hanging out behind the net. Wranglers weren't really pressuring them. Roadrunners kind of went for a little spin and went for a change, used up a good 30 seconds, all before eventually Perunovic got out from behind the net and made a nice breakout pass.
Another face-off win. Connaughton put it in the slot, nobody to tuck it home for Tucson. They'll reload in the neutral zone. Matika forcing Miramanov to chase. Stromgren for Martin Ferk. Takes it off the wall. Nice little move, but forced wide. Ferk backhands it over to Brustevich. He shoots. That's off of his skate. And Ferk will switch the side. Cicek elects to pinch. Over to Ferk. Leaves it for Brustevich. Stromgren tries to put it in backhand. Cicek. Stromgren calling for it. He'll be surrounded by dark jerseys. And Allard forced back in his own end. Tomorrow will mark the last meeting of the season between these two sides. Hunt shakes off a check. Ottenbright shoots. That's blocked. And cleared to the neutral zone. Picked up by White. Stretches it out to Hunt. Over to Ottenbright. Back to Dryden Hunt. Tipped in by Matvei Gridin from the corner. Watched by Onyebuchi. Morton back to Gridin. For White. He'll walk the line. His shot is blocked, and that ends up in the crowd about 4 rows up.
Yeah, so obviously there's a few things that we've been keeping an eye on here over the course of the evening, and you kind of look towards the 2 guys that were returned from the Flames, and Hunter Brustevich and Matvei Gridin. Some positives. I like the way that they were handling the puck, and I think it was just good to see them both engaged. Not to say they weren't at the NHL, but just they're forced to be engaged more with how much more ice time and how much more handling of the puck they have when they're playing here at this level. So that's been something to certainly track here for Calgary as they're getting some guys back. You know, Prosvetov returning in the last few games. You get Kirkland back from the NHL. you'll have Brustevich and Gridden here for a few weeks. They had the trade of Gavin White, so there's some guys in some new places working to find their way, and it definitely showed here a little bit today. As far as 3 stars, you got to feel like Jack Ricketts getting his first 2 AHL goals.
Yeah.
Has to be someone that's going to come out for a little twirl later. And then there's a few other options. So Mikko Matika has a couple of assists. Austin Pagansky, the captain, he's got a goal and 2 assists. Cameron Hebig, he's got 3 assists on tonight. Ben McCartney has scored twice as well. Matt Villalta's stopped 24 and 27. Probably not enough to get him a star, but you look at some of the other guys like Pagansky, Hebig, McCartney, Ricketts. There's several options to choose from the Roadrunners for the 3 stars in just over 2 minutes time.
Seeing a Marie-Philippe Poulin jersey out in the crowd. Canada playing tomorrow. Switzerland at the Olympics, so wishing our women's hockey team good luck.
Hopefully that virus gets sorted out in the Olympic Village. Stops causing havoc on the early parts of the games here.
Well, it does sound like somebody in Switzerland has been quarantined because picking up that virus, norovirus it is, so yeah. But nonetheless, all the best to Canada and all of the 200-plus athletes in Italy. So excited to watch all of you, many of them from this region. What event are you most excited about?
Well, it's got to be the ice hockey.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not really close for me. There's I'll be checked in, and anytime that Canada's going for a medal, I'll be dialed in and making sure I'm keeping an eye, and I'll probably get geared up into the curling and things like that too, especially now that the NHL's done. But it's been a busy week, like Super Bowl and the NBA trade deadline and the Flames wrapping it up and Jonathan Huberdeau news. Like, haven't really gotten myself too far into the Olympics just yet.
If there's one name I want to throw out at people, and she's a Calgarian, and her name is Abigail Strait. She is a ski jumper. She's had an outstanding World Cup and World Cup season, and she's just coming into the Olympics with so much momentum. So just highlight her name a little bit if you're looking for some Calgarians to cheer from. And of course, the men's curling team trains out of the Glencoe Club here in Calgary, and they're very promising, but tons of athletes from southern Alberta. So just, yeah, really excited about everything. I love the Winter Olympics. There's just nothing like it. So over a minute to go here, third period. Tucson looking for more, coming down the wing, centering pass. Nice defensive play by Brustevich to shut that one down. Celia, intended pass, bounces over to Brustevich. Brustevich ahead for Siona, tips it in. That's a rising puck all the way to Villalta. Snapped along the boards. Collected by Ottenbright. King flips it ahead for Siona. Bumped by Lamoureux. 2 big boys in the corner. And rolls back into the Calgary end as Prosvetov will leave that for White. Haidar Suniev, he has a power play goal tonight with pace through the neutral zone. Gets sandwiched. As the clock nearly expiring, Clark Bishop gets that shot off. And that'll do it. That tough stretch continues for the Wranglers with a 7-3 home loss to the Tucson Roadrunners in the opener of this back-to-back. Maddie, I gotta ask you, is this a situation where I'm glad it's a quick turnaround. They do it again tomorrow, 6 o'clock, but what do you take from this game? Do you burn the tape? Do you use it as a learning lesson? What is the approach here for Brett Sutter and his coaching staff?
Well, you had one bad period undo you, right? Like, you like to start. The third period, you're kind of already out of it. You give up that, or you get the third goal to start feeling a little bit closer with a couple minutes left in the second, but unfortunately, you just kind of didn't have it all as the period went on. And listen, this is a different Wranglers team than the last 2 years. The goaltending is not the same with Cooley and Wolf both being in the NHL. You've lost some high-end prospects like Kuznetsov and Brustevich for a lot of it. You don't necessarily have the high-end offensive prospects with Gridden being up in the NHL for a while. Now, both those guys were back here today, but obviously working out a few kinks, and like we talked about during the broadcast, getting used to being the guy again. So tomorrow, back to the drawing board. Interested to see who gets the start between the pipes and how the Wranglers respond to a tough outing on home ice today.
Yeah, 7-3, your final from the Saddle Dome. For Matt Rose, I'm Sandra Prusina. Thank you for tuning in on FloHockey. We've got some post-game coverage coming up next with the guys on Sportsnet 960 The Fan.